So guys, I'm sick and tired of these gurus saying that you can start your SMMA and close your first 10K client within 3 weeks of starting. Yeah, that's possible, but how do we actually do it? Look, last week when I was in Italy, I went on the SMA community on YouTube just to check out what kind of information the other gurus are putting out there, what they're telling their audience, and yeah, in general, what kind of information is floating around in the community. And it didn't come as a surprise that there are a lot of bullshit information, essentially a lot of useless information out there that is just, I'm not going to call it filler content, okay? Because it's these videos that are between 8 to 20 minutes long that basically doesn't tell anything valuable. To give you an example, I'm not going to mention any names, but I watched this one video with this guy saying that all you have to do to close a 10K per month client is to find a business that's willing to pay 100K per month in ad spend, and then say that your retainer is going to be 10% of the ad spend. 10% of 100K, that's 10K. That's all you have to do to close a 10K per month client. Voila. And look, I just explained that to you in 15 seconds, 20 seconds. He spent 10 minutes or something, like 7, 8, 10 minutes explaining what I just told you in 15 seconds. So look, one of the questions I get asked the most frequently is how do I close my very first client? Now, this is a good question because the first client will completely change your business and perhaps even your life, okay? Because you're going to go from $0 per month from up to anywhere between, I'd say all the way down to $500, all the way up to $10,000 per month with your first client, okay? Rarely 10K per month, but it's really realistic getting your first client paying $3,000 per month. My first client paid $1,800 per month, and that's that changed my business and my life as well. So look, how do you get that first client? This is gonna be a no bullshit video. It's not gonna spend 20 minutes explaining some hypothetical shit. I'm gonna walk you through the essential steps that you need to focus on. Really, the problem that a lot of people have is that they complicate things way too much. So they'll delegate their focus between 5 different things that doesn't really matter. Whereas in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to dive deep in and focus on the things that actually matter. And by the end of this video, there should be no doubt in your mind as to how easy it actually is to close your first client and exactly how to go about doing that. So without further ado, let's jump straight into this presentation. So guys, what you're currently looking at is the 4 essential steps that you need to focus on, not just to close your first client, but essentially to close any client, okay? This is the process that you need to go through. And I've broken them down individually here in the next coming slides. But I've written here tunnel vision, and the reason for that is, as I said, people complicate things way too much, and they delegate their focus between a lot of things that don't really matter. Whereas you just need to tunnel vision and narrow down on thinking about these 4 steps only, because before you have your first client, there's nothing else you should be focusing on than getting that first client. Perhaps you'll lose that first client within 3 months. Yeah, that's very possible. But get that first client, get the experience from it, and yes, take some experience out from it, and maybe that client will stay with you for years, or maybe just a couple of months. But your only focus should be getting that first client. So step number 1, lead sourcing and lead tracking. Sourcing the leads and the potential clients that you could contact. Step number 2 is actually the outreach, so contacting the leads that you found. Step number 3, scheduling meetings with them. And step number 4, attending the meeting and closing the client. Now, when I put it like this, it sounds extremely, extremely simple, and that's because it is actually pretty simple. So I don't want to sound like a douchebag here, but let's go in depth with each of these 4 steps. So step number 1, lead sourcing. There are 4 main methods that I've listed here that you can go about using when it comes to lead sourcing. There are other ways you can go about sourcing leads, but these are the 4 methods that I've found have worked the best for me, okay? So method number 1 here, the very most basic one, which is just the Google search function, okay? Go on Google, search for dental clinics in your area, and you'll instantly actually go on Google, search for dental clinics, and click on the maps section of Google, and you can search on maps and you'll find a list of literally hundreds of dental clinics in your area. I believe I made a YouTube video specifically on this already, but yeah, just jot down all of those 100 clinics, and then you can start calling them. Second method here is networking, which is something that I've been doing quite a lot lately. So going to different networking events, business events, marketing events, startup events, talk to a bunch of business owners and give them your contact information, maybe even your business card if you have one. I'm currently in the process of getting some business cards made for my agency because they're really good to have when you go out and network and you talk with people that could potentially become your clients. Method number 3 here, automated lead generation. Now, this one requires a little bit of a budget because what you're doing is, just like you would run ads on social media for your clients, you're now going to be running ads on Facebook and Instagram for your own agency. Now, you can expect to spend, upwards of $100 per qualified lead with automated lead generation. So only do this method if you have a bit of a budget to work with, okay? Now, currently all my lead generation campaigns are on pause because it's the holidays here in Copenhagen or in Denmark, and I believe in most parts of the world actually, and therefore I'm not going to be running B2B ads in the holidays because most people aren't at work, okay? Method number 4 we're at, personal branding. Okay, so this one is not for everyone. Everyone is not comfortable in front of camera, and everyone doesn't have a strong personal brand. But currently, you're looking at my personal brand here on YouTube, and I have a strong personal brand on Instagram as well. And I have gotten at least one client through my personal brand. Okay, so that can be very, very powerful as well. But yeah, again, it's not for everyone. And guys, you don't have to do all 4 methods. No, you can narrow down and tunnel vision on one of these, or 2 of these, or 3 of these, or all 4 of them. But listen, you could spend, say, 5 hours a day lead sourcing on Google, or you could go to 2 networking events every day, or you could invest heavily into lead generation, or you could focus 100% on your personal brand. Don't focus 100% on your personal brand, by the way. But do you see where I'm going? So you can either narrow down on any one of these, or you can, delegate some focus between all 4 of them. But if you use, 4 of them, or 2 or 3, or even just one of them heavily, then I guarantee that you'll find a bunch of leads that can become your clients, okay? Now, lead tracking, I'm not going to go too much in depth with this, but as you can see here, step 1, lead sourcing and lead tracking. So lead tracking, what I've written here is systemize. Okay, putting your lead tracking into systems is really important because say you go out and you source 200 leads on Google, okay? If you don't have any system put in place to actually track these leads, well, then you'll lose track very easily, which kind of is self-explanatory, okay? So what I use to track my leads is this software called Pipedrive. Now, you can see I have one for Stage Digital right here. This is just one I made as an example for a module in the SMMA Academy. Now, I go in depth with how to use this software in the SMMA Academy, so I'm not going to be showing too much in this video. But yeah, actually I'm going in depth with all of this in the SMMA Academy, which is my course, by the way, low-key plug. But yeah, just put it into systems. If you use a Pipedrive, that's cool. If you have another system that works for you, that's cool as well. But just put your lead tracking into a system, okay? By the way, sorry if I'm talking a bit fast here, but as I said, I want to make this a no bullshit, short and precise video on how to get your first client, okay? So just stick with me. If it's a bit too fast, go back and watch it once again. Just want to make it as value-packed as possible. Now, step number 2 here, which is outreach. So these are the main 3 methods that I recommend you can go ahead and do outreach. Method number 1, probably the most powerful one, kind of on an individual basis. So for each video outreach you do with this software called Loom, if you're not familiar with Loom, just go ahead and search it up. But for each of these you send out, there is a great chance of actually signing a client. But each video outreach with Loom can take all the way up to 2 hours to make, between half an hour and 2 hours. So you spend a lot of time per prospect and per lead. But yeah, this can really up your chances of signing clients. But sorry, these are these stock things. I'm just going to delete these. But yeah, guys, video outreach with Loom can be very powerful, but I don't recommend using Loom video outreach for all clients, simply because, as I said, it takes a long time to do them. Whereas, if you found, again, say 200-300 leads on Google, well, then the most powerful way to reach out to a bunch of businesses is simply through cold calling, okay? Now, This is the method that I used to get my first client. Well, it was a mix of networking and cold calling. Obviously, I knew them through some networking, but we didn't really know each other. I was just familiar with their business, and then I went ahead and cold called them. So yeah, cold calling can be extremely powerful. And again, if you have 200 leads from Google, then you can go ahead and call anywhere between, let's say, 100 to a maximum 200 businesses per day with cold calling. Okay, so that's a great way to reach a lot of businesses really quickly. Last one here, DM/email. Now, I put this one on here because I know that there are people out there that are, first of all, really uncomfortable in front of a camera, and then obviously you can be doing video outreach, and maybe you're even really uncomfortable cold calling, which I can understand. I mean, it is quite intimidating in the beginning, but to be honest, after I'd say 30 to 40 calls, you get used to the feeling and it becomes a routine. So yeah, you just have to get over those first 30, 40 calls. And after that, you'll become good at cold calling. But if you really just can't get yourself to do video or cold calling, then you can go ahead and do DM outreach on, you know, Instagram or Messenger, and even send out emails. But personally, I tried this in the beginning, didn't have any success with it, and I got very few responses. So I don't recommend doing it. I recommend these two. Okay. Again, I recommend cold calling most businesses. And if you know that there is a potential client that is really likely to become your client, then I recommend taking that extra time and sending them a video with Loom. Okay. Now, moving on here, schedule the meeting, which is step number 3. This is pretty self-explanatory. The reason I put date here is that, you know, when you're sitting in, say, a cold calling, sitting in a cold call with a potential client, then sometimes, you know, the client will say, we're really interested in what you have to offer. Listen, we're gonna consider this for a bit and cold call or call you back in 2 weeks. Okay, please don't accept that. It's really important to set a date for a meeting, and that's the reason I put that here. Okay, if they say they're gonna be calling you back in 3 weeks, it's basically over. So do everything in your power to actually schedule a meeting within the first kind of contact, whether that's a call or an email. However it might be, just schedule the meeting. Okay. Yeah, schedule meeting, step 3. So step 4, attend the meeting and close the client. Now, what I've put here is that it's a numbers game. Okay. Look, sorry for that. Once you go to a meeting, there's no business that is going to invite you in for a meeting unless they're really interested in your services. Okay. So I say, when you go to a meeting, there's at least an 80 to 90, an 85% chance that you're going to be closing them. Okay, if you actually schedule a meeting, then you're 85% of the way to closing that client, in my experience at least. Here I put 70-30, but yeah, guys, what I mean by it's a numbers game. Look, this is a funnel, okay, and you know, obviously, here in the beginning, lead sourcing and lead tracking, you're gonna have several hundred leads. Okay, then you start reaching out to them, and you know, perhaps 20% of these leads show an interest in what you have to offer. Okay, then you try scheduling meetings. Perhaps 5% of the leads you have in the, not even, perhaps 1% of the leads you had in the beginning, you are actually able to schedule a meeting with, right? So say you had 300 leads, you called 300 of them, and you're able to schedule 3 meetings in total. Now, from these 3 meetings, you're probably going to be able to close 2 to 3 clients. So this is a funnel. It gets, you know, the numbers get lower and lower the further you go in the funnel. That's how it usually goes with funnels. But yeah, it's a numbers game. Okay, guys. So please just follow these 4 steps. By now, you shouldn't have any doubt as to how to go about closing your first client. Again, I'm sorry that I spoke a bit fast in this video. I just wanted to make it really short and precise for you guys, because I found so much bullshit content out there, and I know that so many of you are struggling with closing that first client. So if you have to, go back and watch this a second time, because this is the exact process that you need to follow to close your first client. Okay, guys. Guys, by the way, I know that quite a few of you are gonna comment or DM me asking for this presentation, for a downloadable link. send me a DM over on Instagram and with your email, and refer to this presentation, and I'll go ahead and email you this presentation so that you can actually download it and go back and look at it, okay? But that is it for this video, guys. Hope it helped you out, hope it cleared things out if you had any doubt, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video.